And we're back. Week 17 is upon us. Wow, wow, wow. It is just about over. Happy holidays to everybody listening. Al, how are you?
Great, man. Great. Happy holidays to everybody. And week 17, man. Week 17 is upon us.
Yep. This is actually going to be released on Christmas Day. So, Merry Christmas to those who celebrate.
Yes. Merry Christmas to everybody like Craig said, that celebrates. I love it. And Festivus.
Happy Festivus for the rest of us. I got my poll up.
That's awesome. Heck yeah.
I'm gonna tell everybody what annoys me about them. But anyway.
That's awesome.
All right, let's get to it, man. Week 17 is upon us. You take over the reins if you want to get to that. The first game, right? Kansas City, Pittsburgh.
Here we go, man. Yep. We have two on Christmas Day. We have the Chiefs at the Steelers in a fascinating little matchup here.
Yeah, the way I see it now is Kansas City, obviously keeps winning these games um, in close fashion. I assume this is going to be a close game as well. I assume the defenses are going to play well, so I got it as a low scoring game. Um, and it's going to seem like I'm fading Pittsburgh because they've been losing a little bit here the last bit. They had a nice run early on in the middle of the season, but lately it's been a struggle for them. And I got it continuing. I got Kansas City with another squeaker, 20-16.
Okay. Very nice. Very nice. Um, Yeah, this is a very interesting game. I this if this game had been a month ago, I would have been fascinated to see where it would have landed when the Chiefs were really struggling and the Steelers were at the peak of how they played this year. Um, but the guy who was it seems to me to be very responsible, or at least a huge chunk of why they were that good at that point, is coming back this week, and that's George Pickens. So I'm going to take a chance here, and I'm going to pick the Steelers. They're at home. They have their big weapon coming back, and they have Mike Tomlin. Who? How often does Mike Tomlin let his team look like crap for a month straight?
Yeah,
So, because of all that, and you know how rare it is I pick against the Chiefs, and I think there's a very good chance they're going to win this game. But I see a few stars aligning for the Steelers, and since they're at home, I'm going to roll with it. Super close. Steelers 24-23.
I like it. I almost picked the Steelers as well, kind of along the same lines, thinking along the same lines. Um, But Kansas City also was playing for something. So if they had locked everything up, I definitely would have went with Pittsburgh. But if they win this game, they lock up the number one seed.
No doubt. And they're both playing for big things. Number one seed for the Chiefs, and the Steelers and Ravens are currently tied at a 10-5, I believe it is, or whatever the record is. They're tied at the top of their division. So a lot on the line for both of them. And we're just gonna straight up see who the better team is here. And
Yep.
I'm really not sure. All right. Now, moving on, another cool. I mean, at least if they're going to give us football on Christmas, they gave us some good games this year, man. You also have the Ravens at the struggling but still interesting Texans.
Right. And it's funny, they gave us both these same four teams last Saturday, so nobody has an advantage.
Isn't that, you know what? That's funny. I hadn't thought about that, but
They just swapped them. It was Houston and Kansas City
yep.
and Baltimore and Pittsburgh on Saturday, and then they just swapped them for the games on Wednesday.
That's a great. I'm glad you said that because I didn't notice that before. I can't believe I didn't. That's a good call.
Yeah, well, it makes sense though. So that way, nobody's got an advantage because that'd have been crappy if somebody's coming off of that and someone else has played. I don't know. It could have just been really bad if it was anybody else. Really.
Completely agreed. Great call.
Okay. Anyway, Houston, like you said, suddenly crappy but still interesting. Um, they have the division locked up. I guess you could say they're playing a little better, but now they lost Tank Dell on top of everything.
Yeah.
I just don't see any snare. Baltimore needs this, like you said. They're coming off a really good win, and you're looking really good in the win. So I'm going Baltimore, but I am making it close because they're on the road, and Probably a little too close, to be honest, now that I think about it, but I'll stick with it. 27-23 Baltimore.
Okay, okay. I don't mind that at all. Oh, interesting chunk of news. Now, they claimed Deontay Johnson on waivers today. The Texans.
Baltimore. Oh, the Texans.
The Texans. So, because the Ravens, that trade for Deontay Johnson ended in a complete failure in Baltimore, but he was really good on Carolina earlier this year and was good for Pittsburgh for several seasons. So it's possible he could come in and make an impact for a team that really needs him for towards the end here. But I don't expect that to happen this week, and it's not enough for me to pick them over the Ravens anyway.
Right.
So I'm going Ravens, and similar to you, but not quite as close. 27-17.
All right.
Okay,
27-17. Okay.
sweet. Now, next we move to Thursday and have the Seahawks at the Bears.
All right. Well, the Bears. I'm done with the Bears. I think they're done. I think the Bears are done with the Bears. So,
That's awesome.
Seattle, played well last week. Took care. They won, right? They took care of business, right?
Seattle?
Yeah.
No, they lost to Minnesota, but it was a close game.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Close game. Played Minnesota well. I expect them to get going again here. I got an easy win for them, 31-14.
Right on. Nice, nice. Yeah, the Seahawks are still playing for something, and the
Yep.
Bears are not good. And they had a nice offensive game last week, and it's happened a couple times this year, but it hasn't happened with any consistency. The Bears I'm talking about. Um, so even though they're at home, I don't see them beating a decent Seahawk team. So I'm going to go Seahawks. I'm going to make it a little closer, 28-20.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that too. Their offense played a little better last week,
Yeah, I could
but
see
we'll
it
see.
being that or them getting destroyed like you picked. So either one. All right, moving on to Saturday now. There's 3 Saturday games. Um, What's the first one here? Okay, the Chargers. This is a weird game. The Chargers at New England.
Okay, that's a Saturday game?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Do I
I
have
don't know
that
why
wrong?
I have it way down the list.
Hold on. Maybe it's possible. Because every
Ah.
time you ask me a question like that, I flash back to last year when I had every game in reverse order of where it was.
You're probably right because last time you did this, it was me. I did it.
That's okay. It's going to take me a second. So if you just want to talk about the game for a second in the meantime.
Sure, yeah. Well, I mean, New England stinks. The Chargers are playing well. The Chargers are, having this playoff push, coming off of a very nice win over Denver that we didn't even predict, but they looked great in that game. They looked probably the best they've looked all year, in my opinion. So I'm back on the Charger train here a little bit, and and like I said, New England stinks. So I'm going with the Chargers. Even though Drake May will probably get a touchdown or two, but I'm going to go Chargers, and I'm going to go comfortable, 28-13.
Okay. That makes perfect sense to me. And yes, it is Saturday at 1.
Okay.
Um, and then, listen, I don't have a whole lot to say about this one. You summed it up perfectly. I'm going Chargers 31-17. And yeah, I'm not going to add anything to it. I just, you summed it up perfectly, man. You really did.
Okay. That's cool.
All right. Now, next game, Saturday at 4:30. You got Denver. This is a fascinating game, man. This is one of the more fun games this week to me. That is Denver at Cincinnati.
Oh wow, yeah, this is a fun one. This is that team that we were talking about that nobody wants to play if they sneak in, but I think this is when the dream ends.
Okay.
Um, Denver's coming off this loss to the Chargers that we both thought they were going to go through, but before that they were playing so well. That's why we picked them against the Chargers. They were playing so well,
Yeah.
so I still believe in them in a game that they absolutely need. And Cincinnati's a nice story. They're playing well. They're flying high on offense, Joe Burrow and all that. But Denver needs it. So I'm going to give Denver the win on the road 24-23.
Ha. Okay. Okay. What a fascinating game. And
Yes.
by the way, Cincinnati, there are three teams, I think. Let me just double check this real quick. I have it pulled up. I believe there are three teams in the AFC still alive that aren't currently, wouldn't be in if the playoffs started today. The Bengals, the Colts, and the Dolphins.
Yep.
And the the only two teams that haven't clinched in the AFC are the Chargers and the Broncos. So those are
Yes.
the two teams that are going to have to get knocked out for this to happen. So Cincinnati, what little control it has over its destiny, is right there for it this week. Right there for it.
Yes.
However, I'm with you, and I thought we might be different on this one. I really did. But I'm going Denver. I'm as impressed by Denver as you are, and I was as unfazed by their loss to another good team this week as you were as well. So, and I'm taking him in a close one too. Denver 26-24.
Yeah. Yeah, we got two close one predictions right there, and I am absolutely in agreement.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by that game, man. And we're going to find out how real Denver's defense is, too, this week, because there's not many better offenses in the league than Cincinnati right now.
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right.
Now, the nighttime, the prime timer is on Saturday, is the Cardinals at the Rams. And can a team finally just grab this division and take it, Craig?
Yes, they can because the Rams are on the road. I'm sorry, the Rams are at home. Arizona has been knocked out. I think the wind is now out of their sails. Now that are officially knocked out, they played like crap against Carolina and lost that game. The Rams are going to take control of the division. I think they're going to win the division, and that starts right here with a 27-20 win. And yeah, I think it has more to do with the fact that Arizona, now that they have nothing to play for, I think they're going to just wilt.
Love it. Love it. Okay. So, yeah, I'm very much with you. Um, I'm going to pick the Rams. I'm going to pick them bigger. I'm going to pick them 35-20. And this is they get up so big so early that Trey McBride has zero problem coming up with his 8 catches and 40 whatever yards to get to his 100,000 season.
Here, I'm going to go out on a limb.
Okay.
I think Trey McBride gets a touchdown this week
Oh, I love it. I love it.
because the Cardinals know what's happening.
Oh, yeah.
They're aware. They've been made well aware. I think they're going to try to force it, even because now they don't have anything to play for. They can force it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It doesn't matter. But I think they're going to really try to get him one.
I bet it wouldn't surprise me if you're right either this week or next. It wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, no, I just loved it. It would just be fun to have it
Oh
continue.
yeah, it would be fun if he doesn't. I'm rooting for that, but I think he might get one because they're going to just be like, "Oh, we're not playing for that. Let's at least this is something on the side that we can try to do just for this guy who's been really good for us all year."
It would be really priceless if he did get the touchdown, but then he ends up with 99 catches for 999 yards. All right, man. So where does that take us? We just finished
We
Saturday, right?
finished Saturday.
Okay. So Sunday at 1, we start with the Panthers at the Buccaneers.
All right, Panthers at Buccaneers. Well, Tampa Bay still playing to win that division. Um, the loss last week really hurts them.
Yeah.
That was devastating. So they've got to get back on the schneid. And even though Carolina's playing better, Tampa Bay's at home and they absolutely need this. I still think they're a relatively good team, and I think they have to take care of business here. I have them winning 30-20, um, in a tight one that they kind of pull away at the end. I could see it being like 23-20. Carolina's driving and maybe they get a turnover and return it to make it 30-20. Something like that, but I think it's going to be tight all the way through.
I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, this is we both have a growing respect for where the Panthers seem to be heading, and good for them. Signs are pointing they're going to have a much better off season than it looked like 6-8 weeks ago. So, but not this week. I'm going to pick the Bucks 32-24, similar to yours, somewhat close, but not super close. And yeah, the Bucks have to win. They have to win. And they've looked really, really good at times this year, but they've also looked really bad at times. And I don't know who the real Bucks are, but if they're going to make the playoffs, the one that looks good better show up this week.
Absolutely, I totally agree. I
All
think
right.
they will. I think they will.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I would bet on it if I had to.
Yeah,
Cool. Good on that one?
I'm good.
All right. Next, we have the Colts, another team desperately hanging on to their playoff hopes in the AFC, at the Giants. And what better place to go visit if you're hanging on to your playoff hopes?
Yeah. Um, this was the game that Giant fans were saying we're gonna giant this and actually win and get ourselves knocked out of the number one pick
Right on. I got
because
that
they're
makes
playing the
sense.
Colts at home. It's a winnable game technically when you really think about it. But I don't think the Giants can beat any professional team at this point, other than the Bears. No, no, I'm sorry. The Bear. The only team the Bears are playing better than is the Giants.
Yeah, you might be right about that, man.
Right. Because
Absolutely.
the Bears are on such a skid. They look terrible, but they're still better than the Giants. So I don't care where it is. I don't care who it is. If the Giants are playing, I'm picking them to lose. 21. I made it 21-14, but it's probably going to be worse than that. But whatever. 21-14. Colts win. Take care of business. Maybe keep their playoff hopes alive. Maybe they get eliminated before this even happens. Because I know they need help. But regardless, they're going to win the game 21-14, and the Giants' misery continues. Or if you're a Giant fan, maybe you're happy about that. So, whatever, a lot of Giants fans are hoping just for the number one pick at this point and just want them to lose. So,
No doubt about it, man. Yeah. Excuse me. I am with you 100%. There is no chance in the world I'm picking the Giants to beat anybody right now. They just can't, and they don't want to win. It's better for them if they don't. So, um, the Colts are a 8-point favorite on the road, and they're not that good of a team. So it tells you what everybody thinks about the Giants right now.
oh my God, that is crazy! An 8 point, an 8 point favorite on the road.
On the road, Craig, and they're an under 500 team.
Wow!
I'm not sure I've ever seen that in my life.
Oh my God!
And Anthony Richardson led the most sporadic quarterback in the NFL led under 500 team is an 8-point favorite on the road. Yes. So I am going to take the Colts big 34-13.
Yeah, it probably just jumped like it did last week on me when all of a sudden it was close and then boom, it was 31-7. I was like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, the other play that would have worked out really well if you had done last week for defense was taking the Falcons against the Giants, by the way.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
Okay, enough on that one, right?
Yeah, there's not much to say about that one.
Okay. So then we go to contender for ugliest game of the week. And that is after just talking about the Colts with the Giants. Titans at Jaguars, Craig.
What do you have for a line for this?
Jaguars -1.
Does Tennessee count as an upset?
Yeah, technically, absolutely.
All right, because they're my upset pick, but I wasn't sure if I was kind of being shitty there. But
No, I
they're
don't
my
mind it at all because and I considered them too. I just didn't go with it. So I would have gone with them too if I you know what I mean. I wouldn't mind at all that you did.
okay. Cool. Because yeah, I'm going with them as my upset pick, which means I'm going Jacksonville to win the game. But as we learned last week, you don't pick Jacksonville to win anything. So 22-17 Jacksonville. But in that respect, that I just said, that you don't pick them to win anything, Tennessee's the upset pick.
I follow that logic all the way through. I love it. And I'm going off our lesson from picking the Jaguars last week in Oakland, and that's why I'm not picking Tennessee. I'm picking the Jaguars like you did, but I'm going to make it real ugly: 13-12 Jaguars. Oh.
One touchdown and 4 field goals. This is going to be gross.
Oh God! All right, two more 1 o'clockers. Another real ugly one. This is right there with that one for ugly game of the week, and that is the Vegas Raiders. Still weird for me to say Vegas Raiders at New Orleans. Craig.
Yeah, this is another ugly, ugly one. So I'm going back to the old caveat.
Oh, I am too. I'm curious what yours is. It's probably the same as mine.
Mine is Alvin Kamara.
Yes, sir.
If Alvin Kamara plays, and last I heard is he wants to, but they're not necessarily declaring it yet. If he plays, I'm going New Orleans 24-20. If he doesn't play, I'm going Vegas 24-20.
Nice, nice. That makes perfect sense to me, my man. Yeah, and I'm doing the same thing. Did you have anything else to say about that before I give you my score?
No, just go ahead with your score.
Okay. So I'm gonna do Kamara plays. New Orleans wins 19-17. Alvin Kamara does not play. The Raiders win 19-17.
Another ugly game.
Bam.
Yeah, it's just not. Yeah, there's not. We're not saying much about this. There's not any, disrespect to their fans. There's just not a lot to say about them now. There's just much more interesting teams and games right now. This point of the year, we got bigger games. We got the playoffs coming up, and that's what we got to really talk about. So I'm ready to move on. If you are.
100%, my man. 100%. I agree with you there. Okay, and now this is one that does matter, and it matters a lot to both of us. The last of the 1 o'clockers, and that is the Cowboys at the Eagles.
Oh man. Well, I I did another caveat.
I did too, and I bet it's the same one.
It's Jalen Hurts.
Me too.
Okay, I have if Jalen Hurts plays, Philadelphia wins 28-26. I don't care who plays. I think this is going to be a close game for sure. And if Jalen Hurts doesn't play, I have the Cowboys winning 28-26. And I don't know how I feel about it as a Cowboys fan.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. That makes sense. I know exactly
You
what you're
realize if
saying.
Dallas wins this game, they're going to be 8-8.
That's wild, man. I mean, and it's a fascinating thing because part of me, just as an outsider, not even a Cowboy fan, obviously a Cowboy disliker, is marveling at the fact that they pulled it together like this with Cooper Rush, with no Prescott, and the way they pulled it, they really pulled it together and have what is it, 5 out of 6 now or 4 out of 5? 4 out of 5, right?
4 out of 5 for sure, and I think it might be 5 out of 7 or something like that. Like that, either way, Cooper Rush, his record is pretty good since he took over.
Super impressive, man. Super impressive. And yeah, so I'm with you. And but then again, if they lose a couple more games, they get a better draft pick and all that stuff, as we always talk about. So, but either way, man, I'm with you. This is a tough game for the Birds. This is no joke. The Cowboys defense is playing well. The the caveat thing is real for me because I didn't see enough from Kenny Pickett last week it felt very similar to Cooper Rush's first game. So I brought up
Right,
that comparison earlier because it was solid, not spectacular. He had a turnover, which a guy like that just can't do. And but and again, those two big drops would have changed everything. So,
correct.
but I don't feel confident enough about it to pick them with him as the quarterback the way the Cowboys are playing right now. So I'm going to do the caveat as well. I'm going to do Eagles if Hurts plays. Eagles 30-24. No Hurts. Dallas 30-24.
Yep. And for anybody listening for the first time, that's just something we do. Whenever we have a caveat, we don't usually change the score. We just switch it to the other team. So that's why you heard me say if Hurst plays 28-26 Eagles, and if he doesn't play 28-26 Cowboys. And Al just did the same thing with the same score. It's just what we do.
Exactly. Well put, my man. Good description. And yeah, that's a good call because we
Same
really.
thing with Kamara. We did the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Perfectly put.
But real quick, is there anything new on Hertz? I checked like maybe 2 hours before we started recording, maybe 3 hours, and I didn't see anything on him in terms of playing or not.
Yeah, I checked right before we started. I'm looking again now. Oh, here's one. Oh no. Nope, nothing new since we started. It's just a big maybe right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's why the caveat's needed for that one for sure.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. It's funny we did the exact same caveats in two different games, and they both are huge players for those games, so they make perfect sense to me.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, moving to 4 o'clock, we have Miami at Cleveland first.
Well, Cleveland stinks. Miami's fighting for their playoff lives. Uh, I don't know what the scenarios are with the earlier games if like Miami could get knocked out before they get to even take the field,
Yeah, I'm
kind of
not
like
sure about that
Dallas and San
either.
Fran.
That's a good
That
question.
I guess that's a possibility, but I think regardless, they're just a better team anyway. The three named man playing for Cleveland,
Yeah,
Dorian Thompson Robinson, is that his name?
you got it.
Um, he did not impress at all last week.
No,
He has not been impressive. So I don't think there's any scenario where you can pick him. I don't see how.
I
So I'm
agree.
gonna go kind of like the Giants. How can you pick him? So I'm gonna go um, Miami. Pretty comfortable, 30-17.
Okay, okay. Yeah, that makes perfect sense, man. I think they're just a much better team than Cleveland right now. And Dorian Thompson Robinson is an intriguing athlete, but he is not much of a quarterback right now. And I think Miami's good enough to beat him without a threat at the quarterback position. So yeah, I'm going to go Dolphins 26-13.
All right. Um, yeah, not a whole lot to say on this one. Like I said, Miami. Hopefully for them, they can continue their playoff hopes, and everything breaks the way they need it to, and they get win this game, and maybe they can survive to the last week and see what happens. But I got a feeling that if certain other things happen before they play, they might not have a chance. Depending on maybe if like Denver and the Chargers like both win.
Yeah, you might be right about that, Craig. Yep.
If they both win, which we picked both of them to win, then Miami might not be playing for anything. I think they might get eliminated, but we'll see. Same thing for Cincinnati, but at least they're playing their Denver, so we'll see.
Yeah, they've got some say in the matter at least.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, well, moving on, and this is the game of the week right here, my friend, and I can't wait to talk about this one. That is Green Bay at Minnesota.
Okay. Do you believe
Man, I went back and forth on this one so much. I can't wait to see where you're going.
we both have been saying it. We have to put respect on Minnesota's name. My God, they're 13-2. What are we doing? What's wrong with us? We're screwed up. So I am doing it. I am buying in. I
Oh, I
am
love it.
slapping my leg as I say it.
I
I am
love it.
buying in. I am my belief is at 100 now. So Minnesota, don't let me down. Don't make me regret picking you in this game when the game where I was certain earlier on I would have definitely picked Green Bay and how well they're playing, and they are playing very well. But you're at home, solidify everything, solidify my belief, change anybody who still has doubts, win this game. I have Minnesota 34, Green Bay 30.
Love it. Love it. That was awesome. I like the fire and the fury that came in that heartfelt speech, including the thigh slap heard around the world. Now, I went back and forth on this 100 times.
Yeah, I kind of did too.
Yeah.
I landed on Minnesota. I gave the big speech, but I really was close to picking Green Bay.
It was so hard, Craig. It was so hard. And Vegas obviously thinks the same. I have Minnesota as a -1.5 favorite at home, which is basically a pick 'em. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
um,
Which does show that in a neutral field, I think Green Bay is a better team
yeah. It's a very
by
interesting
a
line
small margin, but a little bit
by a
better.
small margin. Yes, absolutely. I went back and forth on this so much. I am a newfound believer in the Vikings, so that is true and it is real. However,
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it. I was waiting for either however or but one of those.
the thing is,
So go
Craig,
ahead.
the thing is, I've been a believer in the Packers all year. So while I am on board with Minnesota, and I think they're a very good team, and it would not surprise me in the least if they win this game, my belief in the Packers has been longer and stronger. So I'm riding it through in this one, but I'm making it close. 27-24 Packers.
Very, very nice. I can't wait for this game. This is the highlight game of the weekend, really.
It really is. And I'd like to add that I also punctuated my speech with a shot to the thigh, but I punched it, which, while much more painful, was not audio accessible.
Yeah, I was hitting my knee, not my thigh, and now my knee's a little sore, but whatever.
I
We're
gave
old.
myself a Charlie horse, and we can move on. All right, man. Sunday night, and this is a big game. This is a big game. Atlanta at Washington. Atlanta's in first place, Craig, in their division.
I know. But I think Tampa Bay's a better team. I still say Tampa's going to win that because I don't think Atlanta's going to win this game.
Right on. Okay.
These are not the Giants that they got the easy win off last week.
No, no.
Michael Penix is going to be playing against a real team, a team that's playing for something, a team that's got playoff positioning, playoff aspirations. They're in the playoffs as of right now. They're not don't want to lose any ground. And they're at home, so I have Washington winning this game. Um, I'm pretty down on Atlanta. I do like the fact that they went to Penix, but I don't know. I got Washington 29-21. I wouldn't be surprised or shocked if Atlanta won, but I think Washington simply is just better.
Listen, I'm not going to argue that at all. I this is the most interesting thing about this game to me, and you touched on it for sure, is Penix. I want to see how Penix performs against a good football team. You know, this is not, like you said, this is not the Giants, and he had fairly underwhelming stats in his debut against a really bad team, but they didn't need him to have a big game at all. So this is a no matter how this game shakes out, they're going to need him to play if they're going to win. So I can't wait to see how he holds up to it. I'm very curious here. That being said, I'm picking Washington and I'm picking them 30-20.
Right, right on. Yeah, I definitely am right there with you, and I kind of, yeah, I'm very interested to see Penix play fully. Like I kind of was, watching him here and there on the red zone whenever they went to it, and to be honest, they didn't go to that game that often. And then I saw some highlights and I saw his stats. But this is a game that I can watch from start to finish, and I plan on doing so. So it'll be interesting.
I'm right there with you, man. I didn't get to see much of that game either, just highlights and a few plays. So right there with you, and I want to watch him play a whole game, which is going to be really interesting and fun to see.
Yep.
All right, so we have, what is it? One more game left. Yeah, one more game. And boy, they expected a lot more from this one when they scheduled it. Lions at 49ers.
Okay. By the way, I think we have two games left. I think
Oh,
we skipped one.
what did I skip? Did I skip a?
Buffalo and the Jets.
Oh crap! Yeah, I did skip that. My bad. Let's do that first.
Okay. I mean, these both of these games are kind of easy anyway. This is in Buffalo. I know the Jets always play them tough for whatever reason. I mean, even with Zach Wilson, they would beat him once a year, which doesn't make any sense. But Buffalo needs, to try to keep up with Kansas City. It's probably a lost cause, but they need to at least secure that number 2 seed, and the Jets are just playing out the string. I know Aaron Rodgers will probably get his 500th touchdown. I do suspect they'll play kind of well for, like I said, for that weird reason they just play Buffalo well. So I have it kind of closer than you might think, but Buffalo, I don't think you could pick the Jets in this game. So I got Buffalo winning 26-19.
Right. Okay. Okay. Absolutely makes sense to me. Um, yeah. I mean, there's no way I can pick anybody but Buffalo in this game, and I'm going to pick them 27-17. The Jets. I don't know, man. They're just one of the more fascinating stories of the offseason, but this season is toast.
Yeah, and Aaron Rodgers might not be, he might not be on the team next year. There's a good chance that he could retire or, his Madden rating goes real low and Woody Johnson cuts him.
I love that. I love that.
There's all kinds of things that could happen.
That's so awesome, man.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think, honestly, I really do think it's like 50-50 if he's going to come back.
I'm with you 100%. I don't know. I don't know which side, honestly, that I would bet on if I had to bet $100. I don't know which side. I'd have to think about it real hard.
Yeah.
It's 50-50, man. I'm right there with you. That's a good call.
I'm kind of thinking he's not going to retire, though. So he might get cut or get traded or whatever needs to happen for him to move on to somewhere else. I got a feeling he doesn't want this putrid season to be his last season.
I'm with you on that. That's
He's saying he might retire. He's going to go get all hopped up on his hallucinogens and go in the dark and all that crap he does in the off season and come out of the dark. But he's saying he might decide to hang him up. But I just can't see that.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I agree. That's a great call. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be a pain in the ass. The Jets might be the ones that have to make the decision because Rodgers is not known for making any decision quickly ever.
No.
He might he might go bug Jeopardy again to see if they'll hire him this time. Maybe he'll try Wheel of Fortune or try to bring back Scrabble or something like that. But
Or be
who knows?
or be somebody's running mate for governor or something.
Yeah, totally, dude. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Yep. Probably a libertarian because that's pro ayahuasca.
Anyway, so what did you have for the score? 27-17?
Okay. Last game.
Yeah, 27-17 for the score, right?
Yes, 27-17.
Okay.
All right. And now there's only one game left, right?
Yes,
Okay, sweet. Lions at 49ers, and not quite the game the schedule makers thought they were getting a couple months ago.
absolutely. Um, I think this is going to be another whitewash. I mean, Detroit showed us last week against a bad team they can still look like themselves, even though it's not really all of themselves. It's some of them, but not all of them. And it didn't matter against Chicago. And even though it's on the road, I don't think it's going to matter against San Francisco either. I have a very nice, tidy, comfortable Detroit win, 27-10.
Okay, I like it. I like it. Yeah, I'm with you. We have the cracks that I've been waiting for them to appear with the Lions with all these injuries just haven't shown up yet. Amazingly, and to their credit, so I don't see that the 49ers being the one to make them show up.
Well,
So
The Rams kind of, the Rams beat them, so that was kind of surprising. But the Rams are a pretty good team.
that is true, but yeah, you're right. Absolutely, absolutely. And that was on the game. They gave up a crap ton of points, but they did bounce back from it. But yeah, no, they got toasted.
Right.
But yeah, I don't see the Lions taking advantage of that, like the Rams did. Although, who knows? But I'm going to go Lions 28-18. The line in this game is surprisingly small to me, -3.5 for the Lions.
Well, they're probably figuring the injuries, and they're on the road.
Yeah,
In San Francisco, every once in a while, we'll pop up and be like, "Hey, we're actually still kind of good." Every once in a while, that week, what was it? A couple weeks ago, who they crushed somebody? Was it the Bears
I think you might be right about
or the
that.
Cardinals? Somebody they went up against somebody and absolutely destroyed them, and we're like, "What the hell's that?" And then they went right back to sucking.
Yeah, that's That's awesome. I have it here now. Yeah, it was the Bears. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. They check out this little run. The 2 weeks prior to the Bears, they lost to the Packers 38-10. Then they lose to the Bills 35-10, and then they beat the Bears 38-13. And then they lose to the Rams 12-6 and the Dolphins 29-17.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they're not a good team.
No, not
I
a
don't
good
know
team.
what that them winning that game was probably more on the Bears just being just just absolutely horrible.
I think that might have been either the last game with the old coach or the first game with the new coach for the Bears too.
Yeah, we were seeing if they're going to get a bump, and they got no bump. They got
Got
their
no
ass
bump.
kicked.
No bump.
The only bump they felt was the 49ers' foot in their ass.
Perfect. Perfect. Oh man. Well, and there is week 17, my man. I got a couple true and falses. Anything else you want to hit?
Let's go with those true and false.
Okay. Now, and I have a thing pulled up here for reference because you'll probably want it. The true and false is a team not currently in the playoffs, other than the Buccaneers, will make it. Because I think you and I would both pick the Buccaneers over the Falcons right now.
Right.
And would you like to hear who the teams are that are still eligible?
Well, let me see if I can get them. How many are there?
There are 2 in the NFC and 3 in the AFC.
All right. The NFC, Seattle is one,
Correct. Excellent.
and
Oh,
are
and don't.
are the Cardinals the other one?
The way I framed it, Craig, you're probably not looking for this. It's the Buccaneers.
Oh, oh, okay, yeah, all right, yeah. The Buccaneers
You were
and
trying
the
to find another team, not the Buccaneers. That's my bad.
right, right, right.
I
Okay, okay. So those are the two in the NFC.
Yep. Now 3 in the AFC.
All right. Well, it's the Colts.
Bam.
It's the Bengals.
Bam.
I don't know if I'm going to get this third team. I'm trying to think. Uh,
You brought them up earlier and mentioned the possibility that they could be eliminated before their 4 o'clock game.
oh, Miami Dolphins.
Boom.
Um,
So do you see the Seahawks, Colts, Dolphins, or Bengals making the playoffs?
how many? How far back are Seattle?
Seattle is 8-7. So I guess they're not even eligible for the wild card. They're eligible only for the NFC West. So they're 8-7 and the Rams are 9-6. But the Rams have the tiebreaker because the Seahawks likelihood to make the playoffs is only 14%. So the Rams must have the tiebreaker.
All right. Um, I kind of think no. I don't. I think none of them are going to get in.
I agree. I agree. It's that's there. Just to give the percentages on all of them real quick, the Seahawks and the Colts are tied with the best chance to make the playoffs of those 4 teams at 14%. The Dolphins are at 9%, and the Bengals are at 7%. Um,
Right. Other than
so
Tampa, who I do think is going to make it,
Tampa
because I
is
do,
50%.
right, and I do think they're going to make it because they're better than the Falcons, and they're going to win. And I think their schedule's pretty easy too.
Yeah, I'm not sure off the top of my head. Well, we know they play the Panthers this week.
And
Um,
then next week, I think it's the Saints.
I think you're right about that. Let me just make sure. Boom, boom, boom. Correct. So yeah, you can't ask for much more than playing the Panthers and the Saints. And then who does Atlanta play? I don't. Do you remember who they
No,
play?
Atlanta's are tough. They have Washington and somebody else not easy.
Oh, the Panthers.
Oh, okay, it is the Panthers. My bad. But
But
I think I think the Bucks are going to win both games, and I think Washington's going to beat Atlanta this week.
and the Commanders is a much tougher game than anything the other team has on their schedule. So yeah, I'm with you 100%. All right, very cool. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I would say false. Nobody's going to make the playoffs that isn't currently in.
Yep.
Okay, next one. The Chargers will have a better record than the Broncos next year. In other words, who do you like better going into next season now after seeing what you saw this year so far?
I mean, they're so similar. It was such a tough game to pick.
I know, and that's why this question was very. I don't even know what my answer is. Already having asked you it.
Um, Jeez. I like them both next year. I really do. I love the direction they're both going.
I do too. I do too.
Sorry, I'm pouring my coffee for the morning.
Oh, I love it.
Um, yeah. I honestly, this is tough.
It is.
Ah, if you gun to my head and I have to pick one, I I guess I'll go Chargers. Although they don't have a running back, but I could assume they're going to get one.
Easiest position in the NFL to address, right?
Right.
So you would think they'd come up with one for next year. We'll see.
And either, to be honest, Denver doesn't really have a running game either.
They need one too. It's very similar issues. They both have very good defenses. They have zero, really not a great run game, and they both have interesting and decent receiving cores, but both could use a stud.
Yeah, and they both have younger on the younger side quarterbacks for San Diego or for the Chargers, and obviously a real young one in Denver. That's another. There you go. I'm going to say the Chargers more definitively. I talked myself into it a little bit because there's always the chance of the sophomore slump.
That's a great call. We've seen it with C.J. Stroud this year.
C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson. We've seen it on a few people where they just are not anywhere near as good as they were the rookie year. I hope that doesn't happen to any of these guys, like Nix or Daniels, all these guys, even Penix, all of them. But it might, it definitely is a possibility, and that's not Herbert. We don't have to worry about that with him. So I'm going to say more definitively, Chargers.
That's a great point. And yeah, I think you might have won me over with that point at the very end there. Yeah, I think I'll say true too, but it's splitting hairs. It's so hard, and what a cool thing for the AFC West moving forward. And that leads to my third question and the last one for the week, which is either Denver or San Diego will overtake the Chiefs for the AFC West title next year.
I think next
Somebody other
year's a
than the
little.
Chiefs.
I think next year might be a little too soon,
I agree.
but I think it's coming.
I
It's
agree.
coming. Maybe the year after, maybe the year after, in the next 2 or 3 years. If you said the next 2 or 3 years, I would say true. But next year specifically, probably not.
Yeah, no, I agree. Actually, that's a good way of putting it. Now, it could happen. You never know. The Chiefs have had such a weird year, and
Right.
but they're still 14-1, which is just mind boggling to me. Patrick Mahomes is still only 29 years old. By the way, we still have
Yeah.
another 5 to 10 years of prime Patrick Mahomes. So
Well, at least five for sure. Maybe more like 7 or 8.
yeah, man, and people are playing longer and longer all the time. So
Yeah.
by the time he's
Oh, I
ready to
can
retire.
see. I can definitely see a 40-year-old Patrick Mahomes still playing.
Yeah, heck yeah, why not? I mean,
Yep.
shoot, a 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers is still playing. Why not?
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I still wouldn't pick it for next season. I still would not pick it for next season. But it wouldn't stun me if it did happen because they're that good, both of them. I think they're both of them have a chance to vault into like serious Super Bowl contention with just a couple of the right moves and a couple of the right things happening next year.
Yeah. Because, like you said, their defenses are good.
Yeah, they really are, really are.
So that's a good call.
Love it. And that's it, my man. That's the true and false for the week.
Alrighty, we're going to be able to stay under an hour, which is fantastic.
Hey,
So that is it. Guys, make sure you join us next week for Week 18. The Week 18 preview, anyway.
How about that?
The last week preview. It'll It'll be the final one of the season, of the regular season, but don't forget, we continue on in the playoffs, continue picking games, continue giving you 2 podcasts every week, even during the playoffs. It's a lot of fun, and we'll see how we do this week. I feel pretty good about it. I think there were some good games, some tough games, but also some good games that I'm pretty confident in.
Yeah, right there with you, man. And we're coming down the home stretch, only 2 games apart. It's always fun to see how that pans out when you pick so
Yeah,
many games and we end up so close. It's fascinating. And yeah, just another great week of football, man. And we're heading into playoff time, which is going to be a freaking blast.
absolutely, totally agree. Well, if you don't have anything else to add, I'm ready to sign off.
Ready to rumble, my man. Happy holidays again to you and the listeners. And yeah, we'll talk next week. Looking forward to it as always.
Absolutely. Happy holidays. And until next time, I will see you later.